check out one of my audiobooks, ebooks, paperbacks down in the description below. So I was curious about the Oakland Sideshow and how it all started. So they had a few articles online, but there were no videos of it on YouTube. So I thought I'd make one. So go ahead and check out the full report, and I'll have some more commentary afterwards.
As reported by KQED, a sideshow is an informal demonstration of automotive stunts now often held in vacant lots and public intersections, most often in the East Bay region of the San Francisco Bay Area. Sideshows first appeared in Oakland, California in the 1980s as informal social gatherings of youth. Sideshows were made even more popular throughout the 1990s with Bay Area rapper Richie Rich's rap song, Sideshow Anthem.
On my way to the sideshow, down Bancroft to the light. Let me warm it up. I hit a donut tight. There's a Chevy on my side, window straight tinted. I think he got hyped when he saw me spinning. I'm up out of there, sideways to the next light.
Sideshows first emerged on the streets of Oakland, California during the mid-1970s. The first sideshows were originally a car show where people would congregate in the Eastmont Mall or Foothill Square parking lot. The original intent of the sideshows at this time was for people to show off their cars, usually American muscle cars from the 1960s and 1970s. These cars were often highly customized with elaborate paint jobs, all-leather interiors, wire rims and modified high-performance engines. Around the early 1990s, sideshows grew so popular that they had outgrown the parking lots of Eastmont Mall and Foothill Square. By the mid-90s, the sideshow became the alternative hotspot for those too young to gain entrance into 21 and over nightclubs. Sideshows have a bad reputation as illegal, dangerous and occasionally violent street car shows, where gunshots may ring out and people could die. But for those who grew up in the early days, sideshows were not so much dangerous as they were innovative. They created a space for self-expression and originality that bubbled up on the streets of deep East Oakland. It's in the soil, says Sean Kennedy, a multimedia producer and local hip-hop historian. For some reason the air here in East Oakland breeds that type of creativity. Kennedy says it goes back to the early 1980s, when the music of the Sugar Hill Gang made it out here to the West Coast. It seems like it started when hip-hop first got out here, Kennedy said. Kennedy is at the entrance to the Foods Co. in Foothill Square, so deep into East Oakland it is almost San Leandro. Kennedy says this is where it all began. There was a carnival that used to exist right here in Foothill Square, because there was a skating rink right here, he says, pointing to what is now a Ross Dress for Less. All the people would come down here to the skating rink and the carnival. They would bring their best cars and just cruise, he says. Kennedy says that what many people think of as a sideshow these days, all donuts and destruction, was not the way it began. Back then, he says, no one did donuts or spun their cars. It was just peacocking, showing off the cars that were the pride and joy of many, mostly male, residents. That, Kennedy says, was the original sideshow of East Oakland. People had cruised around in their souped-up Chevys before, but it was as if the introduction of the new music taught the cars to dance.
So sideshows are now national. They're all over the country. And I sort of doubt that all of them know exactly where it came from. Naturally, of course, the first ones to start it outside of the Bay Area is LA. And what happens, in my opinion, is that you have a lot of tourists going through LA. They see the sideshow. Of course, they think that LA started it. They take it back home and start doing their own thing with it. Because you ain't going to catch too many tourists going through Oakland. Nah, that ain't going to happen. So yeah, that's probably how it spread. Or even through those DVDs from the early 2000s. The most popular ones, at least the one that I know, is one called Go Dumb USA, Oakland Gone Wild, and Sideways. There's a lot of them though, but those are the three main ones that I remember. That's probably how it spread too. Again, with LA. They probably saw the DVDs and it's like, hey, let's do that too. And oddly enough, it started out as mostly a black thing, right, in deep East Oakland. For those that might not know, East Oakland is broken off into 3 sections. You got Funktown, which is primarily Asian. You got Fruitvale District, the middle of East Oakland, which is Hispanic. And in deep East Oakland is mostly black, but everyone can live wherever the hell they want to live. So it's still pretty mixed up. But of course, some people outnumber others. But now, the Sideshow for a long time, for a few years now, around the 2000s, has been mostly taken over by Mexicans. That's who you see mostly now. You see a little bit of mix of everything, but the majority are Mexicans. So yeah. So if they ask you where it came from, go ahead and show them this video. Check out one of my audiobooks, ebooks, paperbacks down in the description below.